it up. Count us in, Zach.
3,
Wait, your last
2,
name's Morgan, right?
we're
Yep.
rolling, Kemper.
All
There
right.
we go.
So it's the Don himself for episode 12. We got Zach in the house and Mr. Tate Morgan. Tate, you got to be like the number one bro sports icon, I guess, because the Gambler 500 is what he started. For people that don't know, and you're about to find out. I can tell you that much for sure. It's reached all around the world now. You sent me a article about the Iceland version of the Gambler and everything, and that just looks like crazy fun.
Yeah, Iceland was over the top, but yeah, bro sports. I would say I would say we have a lot of bros, but I don't think we're a bro sport. A bro sport I think would be like UTVs and and I don't know, like regular sports. We're a motorsport for everybody. So I wouldn't, yeah. I don't know. I guess yeah, we have, although we do have a lot of bros. And my bill is awfully flat for somebody who says they're not a bro.
Dude, I gotta tell you though. All right, perfect. I wanted to make sure it was okay. I was off camera. I started a little bit before you, so cheers. Sip a little hooch for you.
Oh yeah, no, I got this is Gambler whiskey. That's I want to talk about that tonight.
Hell yeah!
Oh, for
Anything
sure.
you want to promote, let's make it known. But how'd the Gambler get started?
Uh, so the Gambler started like in 2013 with just me and a buddy thinking like looking for, we were both married with kids and careers, kind of boring careers, and we wanted something to do on weekend that was like adventurous. That wasn't just going out and sitting around a campfire and drinking bourbon, which is fine and dandy, but we wanted to go do something. So we said let's go buy $500 cars. And the original idea was to drive them around Portland and see who could get like do as many laps around Portland. And I don't know, that sounded dangerous to me. So I was like, well, why don't we do it up into the woods, go out camping. We'll drive all the way out to like Chinatown to Bend because I lived in Bend for a long time. He's like,
Okay.
that sounds like a good idea. Why don't you organize it? And I'm like, okay. So he disappeared, never to be seen again until the morning of like 6 months later. And so we just set out some waypoints. We had maybe 13 cars there. So,
Mhm.
but to get you know, 26, 27 people motivated to go do something like this,
Yeah.
I feel like it was a huge success. And we had an absolute shit ton of fun. And we did
What
that
was
for
your
3 years.
first car?
The first car was a 90, let's say it was like a 93 Nissan NX. Um, So that's a front wheel drive, not a sports car. It's kind of made to look like a sports car. I bought it
Yeah.
off a student at George Fox University for $268. Um, and I drove it 90 miles an hour all the way home. It was a great runner. That was back in the day. That was 9 years ago when used cars you could get them for under $500. It was half of $500. I wish we had kept that car. I sold it to my buddy, and then he blew it up the subsequent year. Accident. He ran it into it. We take a lot of like Forest Service roads, which are gravel roads, and they're not that dangerous for passenger cars like Corollas and stock. Year 1, 2, 3, most everything was stock. We weren't putting big tires on anything. It was just stock cars driving on gravel roads,
Yeah.
and then. But sometimes you get in. There's some areas where there are some bigger rocks that'll creep up on you, and
Yeah.
so yeah, he blew
Bottom
up.
out in it.
Yeah, he blew up in his oil pan. He's not a good driver, Scott. You know who you are. Uh, Well, but yeah, then we did that for a few years, and then my buddy worked for a company called Chubbies. You ever watch? You know what Chubby shorts are?
No,
They're
but that's
No.
hilarious.
brand of shorts. Pretty big company, but their marketing efforts were to get interesting subjects and then create little viral videos and attach their brand to it.
Hmm.
And so they said, "Hey, can we have some of your cell phone videos?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." My buddy Andy collected them, gave them to him, and they created a 60-second video that was subsequently seen 50 million times.
Wow.
Damn.
So this was back when you could get some organic traction on Facebook, and then you could, and I think they were pumping the numbers a little bit too, like paying to boost ads before you could actually boost ads. But like it was nuts, like 50 million views, and then people were like, "Yo, we need to go do this crazy fun race thing in Oregon."
Yeah.
So they reached out to us. I shut the page down because I was like, "No, get like no, like this is crazy." And then a bunch of fakes showed up, created fake gambler pages, and I was
Oh,
like, well,
black.
that's stupid. And what they were doing is they're farming Facebook pages. So they were creating something so people would like the page, and they'd get 5,000, 10,000 followers, and they'd sell that page to another business to make
Oh,
to
wow.
like
Oh,
give themselves an audience. You can't do that anymore, but that was kind of in the early stages of Facebook too. So I was kind of pissy pants about that happening. So I went back, activated again, trademarked, copyrighted everything, and then just I mean, there's a lot that happened after that, but I don't know how much you want to hear.
dude, everybody loves adventure. So like honestly, what really has like sparked my whole imagination when you sent me that video and I started looking at all the different boats and different things, like the dudes that came through. Because when you told me there was like gun companies and things that were involved, I was like, dude, I didn't even realize. See, I feel like I lived under a rock. When I tell you I'm like a people person, I feel like I'm like the dude on the corner in Rome, and like people pass by, and I'm like, oh shit, that's happening, you know?
I think that's kind of today's age, though, right? I mean, there's a YouTuber out there that has 8 million followers and is the biggest thing for those 8 million people that I have freaking no clue what it is. And so, Gambler is a occupies a small part of the motorsport in like kind of the Northwest, you know, I don't know, activities list. But for the people who do it, they're fervent, you know. But when we had close to 8,000 people out there in 2019, and so to put 8,000 people in one spot, you got to be reaching somebody.
Well, I think adventure is like iconic on one hand, and then on the other hand, in today's age, like just fun for the sake of fun is like symbolic to what we need. You know, everyone may be chasing those followers to get this or that. Like the way Dawn Talk came about was really I just meet cool people and I was like, man, I just want to give them the chance to just tell their story and give them another thing cuz not everyone's going to have as many things as you have to share, you know, like content wise. But I meet people that are just awesome and I want to give them the chance.
I think we're similar in that sense that I've met a lot of people through Gambler who seem, they're very thankful and appreciative of what we're doing. And I'm like, dude, like you being out here means everything in the world, to me. Being you wanted to be a part of something that I create and you helped create, like that's huge. So I've
Mhm.
never, I agree. I agree. It's the collective, and then just yeah, sharing adventure, just little things.
Like
This is
Zach,
part.
when I told you about the gambler and that Tate was gonna be on, as you started learning about it and like looking at stuff, did this not make your brain just be like, what? Like every ounce of fun energy that you got is like you can see it in people as they go about like doing what they're doing. You watch the videos and it's just like it's childlike in a sense, you know, it's just nonsensical, awesome, fun, you know?
Yeah. I was watching a lot of the 2019 one, and I watched this dude. I don't know where he was from. One of the groups that was from Canada, but the dude that I watched was like he sounded Swedish, and he was showing all these different cars. One car had like turf on the hood of it and a duck. It like every time it revved its engine, a duck sound went really loud. It was pretty crazy. Like some of the unique stuff that I was seeing in the videos was really cool.
Yeah. Tate,
Well,
have you oh sorry.
Well, I was commenting to that. We have a very self-deprecating nature. You're not gonna find anybody who's really wants, and then that goes back to the bro thing. As bros, we're always kind of have our guard up and our chests puffed out.
Mhm.
And when you're competing in something to be the stupidest and the silliest and the cheapest and the brokest, you're not out there in your $60,000 truck or with your crazy built HK at the range or whatever it
Mhm.
is.
Yeah.
You're trying to be the shittiest, and so you're laughing. You're not trying to be the. It's fun, and it becomes readily apparent when people don't get it. But for the most part, we can always like educate, and people appreciate being able to let their guard down for once, especially as like a dude in like a very macho sector of dudeness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what do you guys do for the cars that do break down?
We just get them out. I mean, the people that come out know how to handle themselves. Yeah, and
Mhm.
the ones that don't, there's so many people that want to help. It's never been an issue. One of our basic tenets is stewardship and leaving it better than we found it. And we knew that had to be a foundation of what we do out here. So that's where the philanthropy and the Sons of Smokey came up with
Hmm.
our nonprofit for removing abandoned vehicles and trash and boats and you would be amazed what people leave out in the middle of nowhere. You guys have been to shooting pits. Imagine shooting pits,
Yeah.
but they're just not full of holes yet, you know? I mean, there is so much trash out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's like our goal is always just if we can laser focus on this, it's gonna number one, make sure that people don't leave cars out there.
Hmm.
And number two, we don't get people who are assholes who like to leave cars out here. Can I cuss on this podcast?
Oh, of
Hell yeah.
course.
Okay.
Speak freely,
Uh,
brother.
and then also we're gonna do good things, which is what I want my legacy to be. You know, because after I'm dead and gone, that people may have forgotten Gambler 500 whiskey or our stupid event, but at the end of the day, if there's a coalition of people who really believe in preserving public lands for shooting sports, sportsmen, hunters, bird watchers, motorsports, all those things,
Yeah.
then I'm happy.
Yeah, what tripped me out, I went to do some wildland firefighting stuff over the summer, and I was down in what is it, Lapine,
Yeah.
and when I was walking through like the backcountry, all the shit that I saw where like I was like, people do this just on public land. Like I didn't realize how drastic it was because I've always grown up in Portland, always been in Portland. Like I really haven't taken full advantage of living in the Northwest, other than like snowboarding. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of people listening right now that are saying that Portland is like people are dumping a lot of cars in Portland. Uh,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother different kind of trash. You know, I'm not a I don't know, a city person, so that's not my passion. And there are a lot of people who are passionate about cleaning up Portland, and I hope they do. But I'm
I
passionate about public lands and Central Oregon, so that's what I'm gonna focus on.
Hell yeah, brother. Cause like I didn't I guess what I'm saying is I wasn't necessarily like in Portland always by choice. And like so the beauty of like the gambler to me is like I drive a 97 Lincoln Town car, like,
Cool.
and everyone knows me for it. And it's like it's got war stories. It's sitting outside on a couple flats. And I'm like, dude, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I need to put some like beefed up tires on this and just take it out to the fucking gambler or something and
Oh,
let it
you're,
live.
yeah, you're what do you got? It's a Panther body. That is one of the most popular gambler cars. I mean, because it's a Lincoln Town car, but it's also the a Crown Vic,
Yeah.
Mercury Marauder, or all the other Panther bodies out there. Those are bulletproof, awesome rigs. Yeah, you'll be in good company out at the gambler in that.
Yeah. And I guess it's like I always thought like I really bought into like the idea of like when I get there, when I get enough money, I'll do this, and that was like my mind state. And so the beauty of this is it kind of throws all that out the window. It's like, no, take adventure, take for like don't take for granted what you have. And it's right down the street from you.
Oh
It's
yeah,
you know,
yeah. You don't need a Forerunner or a Tacoma or a Jeep. Um, to go off road and enjoy the outdoors. I owned a Jeep, I can say that. It was
Okay, okay, cool.
terrible.
yeah.
Uh,
I
But
was gonna
but
say an FJ. You don't need an FJ either.
an FJ Cruiser.
Yeah, my friend Nick has
Well,
one.
because
He.
I own four FJ. I have an FJ 40 and this FJ 60, FJ 62, and an
Oh
FJ
shit,
80.
you got them
But
all.
not an FJ Cruiser. Yeah, well, I'm a dork. I'm older than you guys, and those are the cars growing up. And so yeah, I've got a off-road Miata, two Pontiac piece of shit vibes.
Oh
I got a
shit.
crap ST400. I've got every like crap can out there, but like my little special nuggets that I collect over the years, I stick them in the corner of the shop. And those I'm really into Land Cruisers. But the FJ Cruiser's in a weird spot because they've attracted a certain level of kind of jeepiness
Yeah.
to the owners that they are
yeah,
very nichey and they're dorks typically because
mhm,
they spend $30,000 on a used car. I don't know, that's weird to me. And it's basically a Tacoma. It's the same engine and same drivetrain as a Toyota Tacoma,
Oh shit!
which
Dude,
I
I
guess
didn't know that.
so you said you got a shop. How big is your shop? Because like we'll touch on you doing Jay Leno and stuff, and I really want to double back and really get an idea of all that the Sons of Smokey are doing and how people can get in on that. You know, we'll surely post links and stuff like that, but to give you the ability to really speak on it. But I want to know, what is your warehouse like when you say your shop? I think like a warehouse of the most beater cars ever.
I wish I had a warehouse. No, it's a 30 by 60 shop. We have a little piece of property down here in Clackamas County,
Mhm.
and we carved out a little piece of the hillside and yeah, laid a foundation. I built I'd never done a metal building before, and I don't think I would again. Wood gives you a lot of like discretion, like you can stretch things and fib things. When you have like a metal erector set, everything has to be perfect, and I'm really bad
Mhm.
at doing that, so it's still not even really finished. Um, but yeah, this thing came in steps, I guess. We built the Gambler, and then it blew up, and then I was like, this is so popular, but I don't want to like reach that. I don't want to be doing the math on how much money I can charge people to then get the amount of people I want, but make as much money as I can. I was like, I want to keep this threshold really low. So we've always kept the threshold, the barrier to entry, like $40 and whatever car you want. So we give you a Burning Man Wasteland Weekend level experience for a tenth. Like it costs $400 to go to Burning Man. I was like, dude, that's
Wow.
silly because
Yeah.
what you're getting out of this is the people that you're there with, right? Like the
Mhm.
experience you're having with other people. How are you charging other people to hang out with other people? Like that's, but you're
Yeah.
attracting the kind of the weird drug-addled like crazies from, I don't know, southern
All over. Yeah.
all over. I won't. I love the state of California, so I won't say California, but there's just a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And so we kept that barrier to entry low. And so I said, well, wait, okay, we're going to attract a bunch of attention, a bunch of people. We're going to make it so this is like the Costco method of fun, right? Like just volume, right? Get as many
Fuck
people in there as possible. And then I'm going to take all that attention and I'm going to leverage that attention with manufacturers and sponsors. And so I can say I have 8,000 people here and I have 40,000 people that participate nationally. And they're like, wow, dude, that's crazy. That's really cool. Here's some
that.
money. And then so that's how I sell out basically, so I don't have to do that to everybody that comes. So keep it cheap, keep it fun. You don't even have to pay me any money at all to come out and pick up trash and drive all around on the public roads. It's just if you want to come into the festival thing that costs a bunch of money and like $30,000 to insure every year.
Yeah. Hey, dude, that's crazy. So, who, how did like the first beginnings of sponsorship happen? And before we go into that route, I just want to know because you had mentioned that you got it together with your bros and were like, hey, this is what we got to do. So, like, how did the tenets get laid out? Like, did everybody come to the like round table and put their minds together? Or was this really like you just going on the merits of
Yeah.
what's in
Those assholes wouldn't have spent any time doing anything. They were happy just to show up and have fun, and content with that. So, uh, yeah, there wasn't any. It was always a dictatorship, but like in a fun way. Like we always kept it fair. We won. It used to be kind of a race, and so
fuck
we won year two. We published all the waypoints. We won year two, and then year two was when I said, "Well, I can't win my own race again. That's not very fun." So I quit my team with my buddy Chuck, who we'll come back to because him and I started another thing called Hoopty Cross, which is a racing series.
Okay.
That's huge now. Um, and so I quit his team and just went straight to a organizational kind of dragging people out of the woods, like if their car was broke down, roll on that side of things. And then the next year's when it blew up, and we tried to keep it as true as we could. But to be honest, with 60 people where we were year three to 2,000, 4,000 to 8,000 people, it's not the same thing. It's not even remotely close to the same thing as it used to be. So we've had to adapt and change rules and kind of, make it about, just keep it fun and follow the direction of the way that people wanted it to go. And it's so far it's worked out.
Yeah, it seems to have a purity to it that like you said, the things like Burning Man that seem to fall in a similar ish category, of like adventurous events, like you're definitely doing something the right way. And that's like it's a breath of fresh air.
But I'll tell you one thing though, like, and for anybody who's listening who wants to be an entrepreneur and start their own business, and for the record, this is like my seventh business. We
Yeah.
can all guess where like the rest of them went, which was failures. Failures. Um, is be adaptable and listen to your customer, I guess. And so like and learn from your mistakes too, I guess. If
Mm.
if you're gonna go out, I had a failed real estate company and development company and shit, I'm just shuttering one our app company down right now because it didn't really work.
Hmm.
Um and and so yeah, and then just do yeah, focus on what's successful, and that's always been kind of gambler and fun and being open and cool. So
So I'm such a hippie. I gotta know. Do you think that success comes from the spirit of something, like and the enthusiasm behind it, or more like structure and people are looking at this, like this is what's popular, and kind of catering or pandering to that?
I sorry, I got caught on the fact that I really appreciate that you're a hippie filming your podcast from your gun box.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm not a good anything. Let me just say that. I'm not a good Italian. I don't like cheese that much. Like, there's a lot of shit that I'm just like middle of the road at, but I'm really good at finding cool people.
no, I'm a registered Democrat. But I mean, I was buying my Colt Python is how we met. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a gun toting, elk slaying, hot rod driving, Democrat.
Yeah.
But
I
I don't
understand.
But no one's got more criticism for the Democratic Party than I do. I've been told I'm either a leftist or a libertarian.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think you just think you're a Tate. You're a Tate Morgan. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's how it
So,
used to be. You're too young to remember this, but politics used to not be like this. No one gave a shit
Yeah.
mhm.
about what your registration was, and then you could be a Christian and a Democrat. You could be an environmentalist and a Republican back in the day, and that no one would
Yeah.
bat an eye. And then they politicized everything. They sucked all the blood out of everything and made it all about politics.
But
So I
the
got
hilarious thing, the way this pendulum swings is like, as they're just trying to oppress you and like with like cancel culture, it's like an idea thing. And like you can cater to it so much before you just go, fuck it. Like, dude, none of that matters to me. Like,
Yeah.
how can I walk on eggshells and be myself? It's just not possible. Like, you have to just know that, like, hey, my intentions are pure, but this is who I am. And I'm always going to be a second best somebody else. So it'll just come across as like inauthentic. Um,
that dog got to go pee. But you said something that I think is really important to I mean that is based on Gambler, but like important in general, and
mhm.
more about your Lincoln Town Car is that like everyone's caught in this weird little race to be the best at it, like have like the coolest shit all the time and like finance a car. Like they walk into a dealership and they don't ask you how much you want to pay. They're like, how much can you afford? And they're
Yeah.
gonna tailor whatever bullshit program they have so they can suck you dry. For what? Like and no one like
Mhm.
it doesn't matter like what
Yeah.
you
Keeping
drive.
up
I
with the
love driving my
Joneses.
Pontiac, my dented up Pontiac Vibe around all the time. And I dump all my money into retirement. So I'll keep doing this forever, but
Yeah.
I'd rather put money in my 401k than my what my daily driver is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach, hold up. Say something. I heard
Oh,
you. You
I
were
was
about
just saying it's like keeping up with the Joneses type shit that he was talking about, where it's like people
to.
And
going
you'll
and
never
racing
win.
cars.
You're
Yeah,
always second place.
exactly.
Always somebody with a more expensive Lambo or whatever it is.
Better job, better
But
house.
y- like there's soul in it. Like why I have this Lincoln and I will never in my life give up on this Lincoln. My best friend, Paul Miller, rest in peace. I got this Lincoln from his family. And that's like my best friend and my brother, right? And I drove around like, and this Lincoln is the car of this. If this car could talk, it has many lives, you know. Um, and this car survived Molotov cocktails. It survived all kinds of things in street life, you know. And this is like his car, and it's got soul. And like I've always said, I'm gonna buy this. Like I'm gonna be the first person to pull up with all like wood floors in my Lincoln. Just hard. I'm gonna put hardwood floors in my Lincoln, and I'm pimping it out for him. And so like for years, as Zach, like when I would drive through the like parking lot at school, my shit would be like bouncing on the smallest. Like my suspension was jacked, and I'm like damn near
What are we
scraping.
talking
I
about?
got Dayton's that are like chipping
You
on
got,
it.
you have Dayton's on it? You got wires?
Yes, sir. 20-inch
Oh, man.
Dayton's,
Oh, no shit. I need to see this.
bro. Hold on. Let me see if I can find a picture of it.
I got spokes on my Miata.
Dude, I need to see that. See, take this is what I'm saying. You wind up just bumping into people by osmosis of dopeness, you know? And then
That's the name. It's gotta be the name of your next album.
hell yeah.
That's
But
great.
that's really what it is, you know?
Osmosis of dopeness.
Hey, take it and run with it. Use it like I never even told you, you know? Like
No,
just
no, no, no. All right, I found my Miata on spokes. There it is.
hey.
They're McCools though. They're not Dayton's.
Let me
They're
see if I can
14s.
find this bad boy. But
Mm.
like legit, even for instance, like this tattoo on my arm, he did that. Like he hand wrote that. And
Paul
like
did?
yeah, that was to his mom. And so it's like you I haven't had anyone in the gun shop ask me why I have Love You Mary Jane on my arm. But you know, thank goodness. But fuck them. I rep it to the fullest. Like that's my mom, that's my family, that's my brother. Man, I didn't
Well,
realize
this
how
no,
huh?
I want to hear more. I want to hear more about Paul's town car and why. Like how did a Molotov cocktail? Like how did it survive a Molotov cocktail?
Oh man. So like there are stories that aren't necessarily mine, you know. And all I can say is it's definitely a hood legend. Like
Okay.
yeah, so um he isn't in a gang. He never was, but he had affiliations, you know. And so I would be driving around this little white dude that I am, um, in a baby blue town car with a navy blue rag, like bandana spray painted all around the bottom of it. I can't tell you how many times people pulled up on me at lights, banging out on me, and then would just see like that it's me, and I'd just be like, "What's up, bro?" And they'd laugh and be like, "Oh, respect." Like there's just if this car could talk, you know. Um, Paul Paul used to steal this car and drive it like when he was like 14 years old and shit, you know, 12 years old, like when he could barely even see over the wheel because he was all but like what 5'6" and the most incredible athlete you've ever seen in your life. And like in 8th grade, going into freshman year, he could squat 265. Like his bench was ridiculous. He ran a 4.4 in 8th grade. I timed it.
Huh.
Like just super athlete, the coolest, most heartfelt dude in the world. But this world isn't made for an outlaw anymore, you know? And I think there's a spirit of like a true man who lives by his own merits and does what's right in his heart and wears his heart on his sleeve that like my brother embodies. And like I've never met a better man than that, you know? Someone that stands up for anyone and what he really believes in, you know? And if you're going to take it to a point where you want to be a badass, he's going to be the worst. You know what I mean? And if you want to see someone as a saint, watch what this dude does for the most unlikely of people, you know, people that can't protect themselves. And like, I just think when we grow up, you know, my mom always told me, she said, adults are just little kids in big pants. And she would also tell me that you can't put an old head on young shoulders. And there's this weird middle ground of intersection as we're developing as men, you know, and just as people, you know. I think women go through it too. I just don't understand it. Like their path in the same way, you know, like what they may experience. Um, but as you're developing, it's like you have to find a way to cherish and honor that kid, that childlike joy, what makes the world magic to you, and it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. You know, that's the spirit of life, you know, that exists within all of us as a unique like Easter egg. You know, and we all paint it different. It looks different. My Easter egg might be a Lincoln on spokes. You know what I mean?
So wait, we're hippies, gangsters, and I think cowboys too. There's part of this whole thing sounded very Western to me.
We're well
Yeehaw.
rounded.
Well, I like it. No, I have young children. They're 12 and 14, and I explained to them that as children, this is the only time that they'll have the opportunity to be real heroes, because you know there's the wars that are fought on the middle school and high school, playgrounds are the ones where you are plain to see, right? They're easier to suss out. You know, we fight wars later, but they're not, people aren't always as open about what their intentions are. And so I 100% agree with you that we should always defend the ones that don't have the voices, and teach our children that empathy is probably the most valuable trait that you can possess.
Yeah, man. There's something that comes with humility. Like what I can say is, um, I've always been an obscure, popular person. Like I was the dude that was like I'd be cool with everybody and like maybe puff my chest out, talk more shit than I should, but then immediately fall down the bleachers or something because I'm just too stoned at a gathering at school. You know, like I was that guy. And I was like, all right, like you get humbled so many times and then you just realize like, fuck it, that's life. You know, you might as well just smile, dust yourself off, and then make merry with the people that want to be around you, you know, and respect that if I think you're an asshole and you think I'm an asshole, thank God we're not supposed to be friends. You know, you don't want to be friends with me. How weird would this dynamic be if I hated you, you hated me, or I hated you, but you love me? That's a terrible marriage.
Facts.
I usually befriend the people that I have contention with, and I don't know if it's a keeping enemies closer thing that I have, but it's always a point of like personal pride to be able to win somebody over that was usually at least aggravated to the point of at least close to physical violence. But
Oh, shit.
those days are long gone. I'm a 42-year-old man now. I don't have time or the body to go fighting.
There's a level of love with that. You know what I mean? There's a level of like love because it's respect. You know, it's love turned on its head sometimes, but then like you're right. It's like once I can like figure out what you're about, it almost bridges that gap. But real quick, before we go into philosophy, I want to double back on philanthropy.
Okay.
Okay, because us being shooting bros and things like that, I've gone out and seen so many trails up in Estacada and stuff that are just trashed, you know, and things like that. So tell us about what Sons of Smokey is doing and all the different like areas that y'all get into.
So Sons of Smokey is our philanthropy. It's a federal 501(c)(3), and for anyone that's ever thought about starting a nonprofit or a 501(c)(3), don't fucking do it. It's incredibly time consuming, not worth it. If you're looking to do good and not make money off it, start an LLC. Protect yourself, and that's easy to do. LegalZoom has plenty of forms. You can go file it on your own. and then a limited liability corporation will give you a certain level of distance between if anything would ever to go wrong. And people are so happy these days, so it's always good if you're gonna go activate and do something. That's good. But a 501c3 is a certain level of hell that I don't not quite sure that I wish I would have brought down on myself. But the scope of what we do kind of requires it because we do trail and public land cleanup from here in Oregon, but all 50 states. And so we've used the Gambler, which is now expanded into 100 plus events in every state across the nation. You can use our name and logo to activate and do things that we used to do as long as you're not trying to monetize them. And so we basically use they can use it under fair use, but kind of the same way that if Coca-Cola gave away the recipe, you could go make Coca-Cola for yourself. But the moment you start selling it or calling it Coca-Cola, like that's not cool. So go out, use our recipe for fun and adventure. Just don't try to make it a business. If you want to make it a business, then just invent Pepsi Cola, right?
So what kind of stuff have you experienced, if I may ask? Like, I understand if there's legalities where you can't speak on it. Like, I don't want to. You have full discretion.
Oh, as far as us using, nothing. Oh, I mean, we've got had plenty go on of people using our name to embezzle of thousands of dollars, but at the end of the day, they could all sort itself out. I don't. You know, it's not a big deal. They're not doing it anymore just because they ran into a brick wall.
Right.
But no, we focus on the positive side of this. So Sons of Smokey is the arm that then fundraises for trash disposal. So it's our 501c3 that then we're able to we sell like apparel and we do fundraising through like different companies like the Ford Motor Company is our founding donator. So the
Right.
Bronco. I sent you the link to the Bronco page.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we'll go out with them, partner with them to go do public land and trail cleanups. They'll help us, fund initiatives, whether it's education or it's trash removal. But all that money goes towards actual like initiatives that we're doing, not salaries. So
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, the way that like our tax system set up, churches and nonprofits are ripe with I don't people who are abusing the system, right? So they're create a nonprofit, but then pay yourself $500,000 a year out of that nonprofit under the
Right.
guise of that whoever's donating to you is doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So for us to keep complete transparency and to make sure that we're always doing the right thing, we don't take salaries, and so no one associated with the Sons of Smokey actually makes any money off it. All that money that goes towards that gets donated, and it's all Ford. The money's all coming from Ford. It's not like it's it's a charity per se. But we go out, we activate, we clean up trash, and we inspire others to do the same. So that's kind of Sons of Smoking in a nutshell. We're building it to be a larger entity than it is. We've done over 1,000,000 pounds, which is
Woo!
which is an
Damn.
absolute shit ton of trash.
Yeah.
Especially with given like our resources, but it's all because of just the goodwill of people and the people that understand what Gambler is and what Sons of Smoky is, and who have a trailer and a truck and just want to go out and rent a boat like off of public lands, this weekend. Like that's what it is. So yeah, that's the passion project. That's something that when I retire or whatever that I want to focus on. But yeah, Sons of Smoky. We'll do. You guys should come out for the big event this year. We're moving. I haven't even told anybody, but it's going to be in Redmond. It's going to be at the Deschutes County Fairgrounds this year.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm
Dude.
guessing by the time this is published, I will have announced that. But we came up from Gilchrist area that just wasn't big enough for us, and now we're gonna come up with Deschutes County Fairgrounds, the Ochico National Forest, and then the grasslands out there, National Forest, the Crooked River grasslands. They have an endemic dumping problem with cars. We've already got 20 cars identified that we're going to pull off, and then probably about 1,000 cubic yards of trash. So we're
Nice.
excited.
We'll come down. We'll make. Yeah, give me one moment. I gotta tell my brother to be quiet. He's chasing the cat around and stuff.
Zach, are you a gun guy too?
What's that?
Are you a gun guy too?
I'm like a novice gun person.
Yeah. Well,
He's
that's
dipping his
You know.
toes.
I've shot more
I didn't
guns than
even
I
know.
own.
I didn't even know. I didn't have an AR till my buddies. Yeah, they made me get an AR. I just like I can't hunt deer and elk with an AR, and they're like, "Oh, you can actually." And then they showed me what an AR-10 was.
Yeah.
And so, what are you shooting?
I've shot things from AR-15s to like Colts to elephant guns. The elephant gun was a really fun one. It was
What, like a
interesting.
45-70? What's the elephant gun?
I have no idea what the caliber
A
was.
literal elephant gun.
Yeah, but
So
it was like the biggest slug I've ever seen, and it bruised my shoulder for like a week.
Zach just took a trip down to South Carolina to meet and have some fun with like our little homie Josh, who's like a little brother to us, you know. And when he went down there, they had some good old Southern
Oh
fun,
yeah. Well,
and they took
yeah.
him out to a range.
We only shot like a couple different 22s, but then I rented this fully automatic Glock 18 that was
Oh
really
God.
fun to shoot, and it shot 25 rounds in like 1.8 seconds. Yeah, exactly. I have the target on my wall. That's like a C shape, which so it was a pretty good time.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't know why full auto Glocks exist. I'm just happy that they do.
Yeah, that was the funnest gun I've ever shot for sure. So
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense.
yeah, when Zach came into the shop, because I've been telling him, I was like, dude, I got this job. Like, you gotta come into the shop. You gotta come check it out. And he came in, and he and his dad were like, whoa. Like, I was like, yeah, it's like you walked into that aisle from the Matrix, huh? You know what I
Well,
mean?
and that's in today's times. But you walked into Northwest Armory 5 years ago, and there, I mean, you guys have a good inventory. But this just the gun business in general has changed quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like another good spot that's like a local spot where you feel that same way, like it's like a gun library, is like Keith's out in Gresham. You go out to Keith's and it's like you may have to hammer time your way through this small little store, but it's like every nook and cranny
Yeah,
has a gun shoved in it. You know?
I don't think I've been out to Keith's.
It's worth a visit, like I know for me, like when I can't find something in particular and I don't feel like going down to the gun room off of Foster and picking
Yeah.
the brains of some old gristles, which I do love doing that from time to time, I'll head out to Keith's and see what they have. And they have stuff like the Tavors that are like the Israeli like IWI like military guns and the bullpup designs and things that are a little more obscure.
You find me an AK. I kind of want a traditional like AK. I've never owned an AK before. I got like 7 or 8 ARs, but I've never owned an AK. I
Yeah,
feel like I need one.
we'll figure out getting you an AK.
the
I want
Yeah.
wood on it though. I don't want. I want like I like guns with
old
wood on
school
them.
one.
Oh yeah, I was
Yeah.
just looking at a Mossberg today. Mossberg just came out with an old school like trench shotgun. So they did
Okay.
it with the walnut stock and everything,
Yeah.
but it's got the heat guard over the top of it, so it's got like the
Oh,
perforated
cool.
metal and it's got a bayonet lug and an eight
Yeah.
yeah, we're selling them for like $600.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite. I have an M1A, and that's one of my favorite. Like, cause it's an old World War II style.
Mhm.
I like to think about grandpa out there in the trenches, like trudging that heavy ass thing around.
Yeah, when I first showed up to the shop, they had a Tommy gun, but one of the long barrel ones, and it had a
Okay.
drum on it. I was like, dude, this is so heavy. I can't imagine like in World War II, really like how they had to run and everything with that much. Because a 45, like packing a ton of rounds on you, dude, that's a lot of weight.
There's a lot of things that my your grandparents would have been in like Korea or something.
No, my mom's old, bro. My my grandparents are like early like Great Depression era stuff. Hold up. I gotta show you a picture of my grandpa. Matter of fact, my grandpa was one of the like original OG bodybuilders in America.
What?
Yeah, yeah. I shit you not. I'll show you a picture of my grandpa and you'll be like, no way.
Oh, cheese and rice.
Yeah. So back in the day, they used to have to like during the Great Depression, it was frowned upon to be a bodybuilder because they're like, "What the hell are you doing?" You know, like go feed your family and stuff. But my grandpa would sneak with his friends onto construction sites and steal the rebar and the concrete, and they would mix it in coffee cans and have to hide these weights in snowbanks that they would make. And that was like the OG shit. It was all back alley, like little places where they would lift.
I think it's in the car. Oh, no, rice. Oh, the rice? Wait, what do you mean? Go find your sister. Wait, what? Sorry. Ask her what she got you. I think it's still in the car. Sorry.
You're good.
Daddy, dude. Yeah, that's some dedication because yeah, I have a gym membership, but I don't look like your grandpa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
he had to build weights out of concrete and rebar,
yeah,
and all I'm sitting here doing this is. You left the mom to go get the cats. Oh, it's in the Land Cruiser. It's in the next to the cup holder next to the driver's seat.
yeah, dude. It like you admire what people had to go through, the lengths for their passion back then, and like
Yeah.
nowadays you can create something fairly easy.
Yeah, but it makes you soft though because you didn't really have to like it. The opportunities are there, but the fire has to be there for you to go chase something. I mean, your grandpa didn't have steroids yet. He's freaking gorked out of his brain, like and now,
Yeah,
here I am not taking steroids and not lifting weights. I mean, I'm not even taking the easy way out.
but at least you made a whiskey company, so you're still contributing to the world. I'm sorry, I feel this is sacrilege. I'm sitting here drinking Fireball. You got this beautiful whiskey company. Tell me about that.
Oh, don't start a whiskey company either. There's no money in whiskey. We have our whiskeys in over 300 liquor stores in Washington, Idaho, California, and Oregon. Uh, shit, it's actually probably more than that at this point, probably 400 liquor stores. And the way that there's just you have to sell a lot of whiskey at a much higher price than what we're doing to make any money. So it's
But
a
are you
vanity.
passionate?
What's that?
But you're passionate about it. You know what I mean? Talk that shit, Tate. You're a humble dude. Like, hey, it's not about like it is about the money at a certain point, but there's a middle ground.
Yeah, it was like because my attorney sold Pendleton whiskey for $300 million to the who did she sell it to the Jose Cuervo.
What?
Yeah, because Pendleton is an event. The Roundup, right, is here in Oregon. It started as a rodeo event. They made the whiskey. They bought it out of it was distributed by HRD, but they're buying Canadian whiskey off of train cars and put it in plastic bottles for the cowboys back in the day. And then they like fancied it up and put it in a glass bottle. It still tastes like shit, still does. And then marketed it to the world, and it became a global whiskey brand. And they sold it to Jose Cuervo for $300 million. So,
Damn.
my whole goal is as a shotgun, in effect, just blast it and to see what happens. So if the whiskey thing takes, and great, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't, then it's a fun party trick, or to talk about on podcasts.
Hey, there you
But
go.
then again, I don't know. Are we just doing what we fucking just preached against right now? Is like talking about all the cool shit we fucking have? I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm starting a whiskey company. I don't know.
there's
Hey,
no there's oh sorry, go on,
I
Zach.
was like, we got our cool shit. We're not trying to up someone else with the cool shit.
Yeah, hey, I don't know. There's an aspect of it where it's like talk your shit. You gotta let your nuts drag a little bit.
Of course.
It's
okay. There's a fine middle ground.
I think if you're willing to bring everybody up with you, if you're
For sure.
willing to, and maybe that's it. Like, I want to have every single one of these conversations that, like, if anybody wants to talk about anything, then I'll always want to talk about it because I'm always listening to, maybe I was late on the whiskey thing, but maybe you guys have maybe I should be doing gambler psilocybin mushrooms.
dude.
And maybe you guys are going to tell me that I should brand my own mushrooms, and maybe that's what will be
Hey.
successful. And whiskey is one of those things that's going to be a fall on space, you know.
If you want to brand mushrooms, I know a guy. All right, you're talking to the Don. All right, you're like, but I want to know who the hell your
Listen,
lawyer is.
I don't need to brand mushrooms to want to know you're a guy. I'm saying I just want.
All right, we can make some magic happen. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta know, man, who the hell is like? What kind of lawyer did you get? Like, I know some gangsters and stuff. I met some in my time, but you know someone that sold it to sold a whole whiskey company?
Oh, well, she's a really good attorney. She's very expensive. She's the kind of attorney you don't want to call
Mm,
because you know that every 15 minutes is hundreds of dollars. And so
yeah,
you got to think really hard about the questions that you want to talk to your attorney about. And they're worth it because a bad attorney will give you all sorts of bad advice and get you in lots and lots of trouble. But I will tell anybody who is talking about or thinking about starting businesses or has a small business is do your due diligence before you go and talk to your attorney because they they don't they don't know how important whatever it is or how much money is on the line for this particular question that you have. So pick and choose.
mm, yeah. It's funny, man. I've so far, wonderful entertainment has become such a blessing to me. And honestly, Zach right there, bro, he's been such I feel like I'm the shittiest James Bond, and he's like the best Q in the world. You know what I mean? Like he's the lifeblood and the engine of this vehicle, and I just try and I'm like the spray painted Daytons that are trying to get people's attention to come watch this podcast.
Spray painted Dayton. I've never even seen spray painted Dayton.
Dude, when I was growing up, I used to have a Schwinn that was like a faded red Schwinn with half-ass spray painted gold spokes on it. They'd be chipping off, and so you could see part of it was silver, part of it was gold. I'm gonna have to make my own custom Dayton collab someday, and we'll sponsor it with the Gambler 500.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. You just have to have it in like a Honda Civic bolt pattern though, or something like or a PT
Yeah.
crew. You got to make it for PT cruisers.
There's got to be a shitty PT Cruiser we can get. Hey, but PT Cruisers used to have for whatever reason, my mom loved PT Cruisers. And I sat in one because my mom was thinking about driving it, and I was like, look, I can't do a PT Cruiser, but they had a legit table in the PT Cruisers, like a table setup where you could play cards or something, like an RV almost.
Ah,
Wow.
that that's funny. I've owned two PT cruisers. Um, and we bought. Have you ever listened to the Smoke and Tire podcast?
Mm-mm.
It's it's a car specific podcast. The owner is Matt Farah, and he hates me now. I bought his PT cruiser, and then I bought another one. I had two, and they're both in Southern California. We gambled one of them in the Southern California Gambler, and then got it stuck. And we had taken the seat out of Matt's that I'd already bought from him
Uh-huh.
and put it in the other one because it was missing a front seat. And then, but it got stuck. So when I had to drive the other PT Cruiser home to Portland, I had no front seat and I couldn't get it. And so my buddy sat in the back seat and he drank Lagunitas IPAs the entire way back. I was stone sober, so I don't think I get trouble for saying that. And we got back, but he had been eating sunflower seeds the whole way back too. And so there were sunflower seeds all over the floor because it was a piece of shit car nobody
Yeah.
cared about. And but I had to go. I didn't have another car at that point, and so I drove my kids to school in this car. Uh, and my kids go to Westland High School. I grew up in Westland now. I had a Datsun flatbed pickup truck. I was the counterculture skate kid, like
Hell yeah.
actor, just like yeah. I did not really. I wasn't the cool kid in school. And then so I'm back, right? And then my kids are going to school, and here I show up. I'm in this piece of shit PT Cruiser. drop, drop my kids off at school, and they love it. Like they think this is the coolest car ever. And who am I to tell them that it's not? But they
Yeah.
love it because found the bag of sunflower seeds in the back seat, and they're chewing them and they're throwing them on the floor, and there's no front seat, right? So when you get in the car, it's like you're in a limousine. You have leg room for days. There's no front seat in it, and I'm dropping and like there are girls and dudes who dropping their kids off that I went to high school with.
Yeah.
And here I am in this dented up PT Cruiser, and they're in their brand new Teslas and BMWs. And I'm just like, the same guy.
It's the same guy.
Yo, that's how I feel when people would pull up on me and I'm in my whip and I'm like, "What's up?"
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah, it's fun. That's good. And you know what? You know what's funny? And I have a buddy who lives down the street from me, and he just built a big, beautiful house with his own two hands, and he's got a really nice Dodge Cummins pickup truck and a beautiful dog and acreage, and I sold him my Corolla for $600. Guess what he drives every single day of the week?
The Corolla.
Freaking Corolla, dude. The front's all dented up and everything, and it's like spray painted, and he drives it every single day, and he loves that thing.
That's great.
No, and my Pontiac vibes are out front.
How do you meet Jay Leno? And I didn't have time to watch that episode, so I apologize there. That'll be fun after this. But tell me about that.
You have to watch it on cable. Like it's on CNBC
or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's in Jay Leno's garage. Their producers reached out to me, so that was in like an avalanche of moments that were happening at that time. Oh, I got freaking cancer about the same time The Gambler started. We skipped over that.
What?
Yeah, my life was so weird. So I went broke. In 2008 when the big crash happened.
Yeah.
We lost all of our money, our house, everything. I had a kid, another kid on the way, and I had to move in with my father-in-law, take a job at his company, and drive his old Mercury Mountaineer. My wife had lost her job before me, and so we were like just in debt and underwater. Moved back here and just did whatever we needed to do. I took any job I could, at the time, and was working my way back into it. And then that's when Gambler kind of popped off. I had a good job. I had worked myself back into a good job at that point, doing sales and distribution for a roofing company for Owens Corning. And then Gambler popped off, and then I found a weird bump on my nut, like on a Saturday morning.
Oh,
Here's the thing. Check your balls.
Yeah, regularly.
Consistently. But do it on a weekday. You check your balls on a Saturday and you find a lump, you gotta wait 2 days to see a doctor. Like, check it on a weekday morning. That's the best time. Set an alarm. Check your balls for a Monday morning. Have it recur every week. And the tiniest of little lumps, checked out, because I did it back in 2005 or something, or no, I moved back 2008, 2009. Found a lump, went in, got to the ultrasound place. I'd had 2 kids, so I knew the ultrasound techs were usually kind of cute women. And sure enough, the ultrasound tech comes out, and she's like, "Tate Morgan." I'm like, "Oh man."
Oh shit.
The beautiful woman goes back and puts warm jelly down there, and I apologize for any of our younger viewers, but
hell yeah.
Turns out I didn't have testicular cancer, and I thought I was gonna die the entire time, so it wasn't that awkward. But 5 years later, I found another lump on my ball, right? Like, but here's consistency, right? Check your balls, because there are a lot of people who aren't as lucky as I am that didn't catch it as early as I did.
Yeah.
Went in, had it checked. And this time I went into the ultrasound. I was like, dude, this is sweet. It's not going to be cancer. Obviously, like I don't have cancer. And I'm going to get some girl's going to be forced to touch my balls again. And lo and behold, it was a dude this time. And I got fucking cancer.
You
the
knew the
2 worst possibilities.
You're like, oh,
double whammy. Worse. and then it was only a day. It was only a day. They're like, yeah, we had the biopsy come back. Yeah, it's malignant. It's the shitty kind of cancer. Like it'll fucking kill you. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, this. They were, and then they're like, yeah, we're gonna cut off your ball, and then we're gonna pump you with so much fucking chemo that all your hair is gonna fall out.
Fuck.
And like, I was like, dude, this sucks. But luckily, I went in, cut my ball off, and the urologist had told me all these scary shit, and I went in to go see a new doctor, Dr. Schnaudig, over at guy I used to drive by their billboard all the time.
Shout out to Schnottig. Okay.
Schnaudig. I want to know what God, what was the name of their cancer outfit? Either way, and he's like, "Yo, man, a couple years ago, the first thing we would have done was pump you full of chemo, preventative chemo. But we
Mhm.
found that preventative chemo usually gives you cancer, secondary cancers later on down the line. You don't want that sort of shit. So if like you got about 50-50 chance of this coming back, and then about a 90% survival rate. So you have a really good cancer, right? You like this is odds are you're not gonna fucking die from this. You have a
Mhm.
1 in 10 chance, which is a great like when you got cancer. That's a
Like hell
good.
yeah.
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 I was sitting in the waiting room of on Compass Oncology is the name of the cancer outfit I went to,
Okay.
and dude, I was the luckiest motherfucker in that room because there were people who were hurting so bad, so
Mhm.
bad. Like if you want a window into some shit and you want to feel real lucky, get cancer and then go to a cancer waiting room and see how bad people have it. So
Mm.
it's that whole like be nice to everybody. You don't know what battles they're facing, sort of shit.
Yeah.
Because people were fighting some bad battles in that room right there. So, but went through all that. I'm 5 years clean, which is like the threshold
Woo.
for
Fuck yeah.
yeah for it. At that point, they're like, "Yo, dude, we don't even want to see you back anymore. Like, we don't even need to test after." So I did all that stuff, and with kids, it's different. Because I
Mhm.
wanted to see I wanted to give my daughter away at her wedding. I wanted to see my son graduate from high school. I wanted to see all those things, and I felt like I was cheating them by not surviving through all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah, got the where did cancer come up from? Why are we talking about this?
I don't know, but I got two questions. So first of all, like,
I still
um,
get boners. Okay, like it
well,
works. It works fine with one nut.
all right, hell yeah. But I don't know that I've ever said hell yeah to boners, but fuck yeah, dude. I
Oh, yeah,
support your
boner, man.
boner.
Boner power.
But all right, that was one too many boner comments, Zach. I'm just but no, like when I two things. I have a question and then a comment,
Okay.
because it's all about perspective, and these two things kind of go hand in hand. So one thing is like treatment. What did you do? And as far as treatment goes, did you get into like I know I'm a very like I believe in God, you know, and I talk to God all day long. Did you become like religious or have any kind of spiritual like and it's not about religion, right? I'm just saying like did you have a moment, like a come to Jesus moment or whatever it may have been for you. Like were you talking to God? Did you get spiritual about it or did you get practical? Was it a combination of like, yo, I'm gonna smoke some weed and figure this stuff out? Because I worked at a dispensary too, so I really got my beginnings at the dispensary treating people that
Mhm.
were either cancer patients, like vets with PTSD, kids and old people with autoimmune disorders and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. No, I think marijuana. To be honest, booze is poison. I think that, and I can't consume THC. Really screws with me, so I'm not a big. I just can't do a lot of THC.
Yeah.
But as far as God's concerned, I've never been a religious person.
Hmm.
Um, but I was sitting in that office in the oncology office the very first time I went in, and the nurse called me back, and I sat down there, and I was scared as hell. I wouldn't let anyone come back there with me. Uh, I wouldn't let anyone come to the office with it. I wouldn't let my wife or any of my family. They all begged me to come. I was like, if you come, I'm gonna break down. Like this isn't like it's all gonna be too real for me. Like I'm gonna
Mhm.
you being here was gonna make it hard, and so
Yeah.
I wouldn't come with me. And so I was sitting there in the oncology office, never haven't met my oncology doctor yet at all.
Hmm.
Um, and but they finally nurse comes out and calls my name, and we go back in the back room, and we sat down, and she took my blood pressure, and took my hand, and she put it in her armpit and rested it against her boob, and she said, and at that point I said, it's gonna be okay. Like this isn't so bad at all because she was kind of cute. I was like, thank you, God.
Yeah.
All right, that was, I'm not Would that actually happen? And no, I don't know, man. I'm okay. I didn't have to do. I'm a fraud in the cancer community because my doctor told me that I had a 50-50 shot if I wanted to not take chemo, and
Hmm.
that if it came back, he said your cancer is going to come like one in like a flip of a coin, your cancer could come back. And so I was like, I'd rather not do chemo if I don't have to. And so he's like, well, then yeah, some people are that like the worrying about it is gonna be worse for them. And so I recommend that as well. And so I got lucky. I got super duper lucky. I'm not really allowed at the 5K walks like or anything. Like they don't have a thing for me. I'm the luckiest like cancer survivor on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
All I had to do was give up a testicle.
See, this is look. That's crazy that you said like in that phrase, "give up," because to me, like what I've come to recognize is that no matter what experience you have, that like you realize like it's a moment of surrender. Like so much pressure and so much shit like piles up that you just relinquish the fact like that or you submit to the fact that you don't have control to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, well, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I'm here. You know. And in this moment, it's almost like you realize something in yourself where you're like, it's okay. I guess that's what I'm talking about. Is like it's an interesting commonality. And I know not every. I'm not saying
It was
everybody has.
it wasn't I agree with you, and I think I found that later, but I didn't sleep for a year and a half. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about I slept an hour a night for a year and a half, which then ended up in depression and antidepressants and all sorts of um, ups and downs for me. So yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't ever want to tidy it up into something to say that was easy or there was a moment that you realized it was going to be because I went through a cavalcade and as a bro
Hmm.
and as a father and a husband, you
Yeah.
don't want to see weakness. Like I didn't want my wife to know that I was scared,
Hmm.
or that I was depressed. And so yeah, there was and I've had friends go through this. I have friends going through this right now.
Yeah.
I've had friends die recently of pancreatic cancer, and so it's not everyone wants to be brave, but I think it comes at a toll.
Mm.
Degree, fuck, I've had way too many friends die of cancer. So yeah, if anybody listening to this going through it, like reach out. Hopefully you have the one homie. If you don't have your one guy that to go to talk to, find one, or it's your sister or your mom or your priest or whoever it is. Go talk to people. Don't let that stuff like sit under the surface and just fester. I did.
Yeah. Man, see, dude, this is honestly, I'm so appreciative of you for coming on this podcast and for sharing your experience
Wait,
too.
we're doing a podcast.
Yeah,
You've been
dude, we're recording one right now.
I know you thought I just suckered you into an awesome conversation and kicking it, but no, like for real, because I think we need to share our experiences, you know, no matter how different they are, and rather than trying to put them into like a box where they're complementary to each other, you know, just hearing each other and allowing each other to speak their truth and to show like Like, do you think that that happened and out of that spawned something where you wanted to live, you know, and like is that part of where the gambler came from? Like an underlying thing, or had you already started that?
I'd already started it, but I had to quit. I basically had to quit my job.
Mm.
So I was in a lucky position where my wife was also working at the time.
Mm-hmm.
When I went through all my shit, and the stress was just murdering me. I mean, when I said I went, oh, here's the other thing. Let's talk about prescription drugs and the pushers that are out there, because that's part of the reason I got fucked up. Um, was I was able to quit my job. So I was for intensive purposes breadwinner. Make that our insurance was under me, but my wife was working, so I was able to. And then I was just falling apart from the inside out
Yeah.
at that point, and then decided that I just needed to quit my job. I hated my boss. I hated. I had very stressful. I had to travel a lot for work. Like, it was just bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I quit. I talked to my wife about quitting, and then I just quit. And she was like, "You did what?" And then, but she's fine. My wife is an attorney. She's a badass.
Hell yeah.
But going into all that stuff, like at that point, I had free time, and I could either think about like what maybe spreading to different lymph nodes in my system, or I could be thinking about what kind of fun shit we could be doing, and that was Gambler. So I just started building this brand, and I always wanted a brand, and so instead of an event series, we started building Gambler as a brand. So I wasn't trying to protect, I was trying to grow. So instead of like trying to keep people away, I was trying to like get them to adopt and like push, push, push. So that's when we started doing all the Hoonigan stuff and the Donut Media stuff and all the YouTube. We were a platform for creators. So lots
Mm-hmm.
of podcasts. And then Leno reached out to me. That's how this conversation started. Is
Yeah.
Leno reached out? They had his producer wrote me an email, say, "Hey, we want to uh, use you guys in an episode of our show." And I was like, "Are you dry fucking me?" Like I cried in my living room right then and there. I was like, "Dude, I think this is it. Like, this is it." And that's like 3 years ago now, 2 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, and he was a stud. He flew here. Like, they brought the show here to us, and
Hell yeah.
and they had a huge production company, and we went and did a little episode out in the woods, and it was awesome. And he's a great guy. I sat in the car with him for like 5 hours. Like,
Wow.
I think it was hungover. Although I read something that he didn't drink, but I think he drinks because he was acting hungover. Uh, but he's not a big lover of piece of shit cars. Like, he's a comedian. He's funny.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't love shitty cars.
Yeah, he's an aficionado. Like
He
that
isn't.
dude has like that je ne sais quoi taste, you know? So that's great that you got him in some beaters. Like honestly, I can't wait to watch that freaking episode
It was
too.
good. It turned out good. But I'll tell you one thing about being around TV shows and having 100 TV shows pitched at us, because
Hmm.
for every 1,000 pitches for a TV show, only one ever makes it. And so,
Hmm.
like, that was awesome, and he's an icon, so that was fun. But TV's for the birds. Like, you guys will see. The TV model that we know now is gently fading away, and we've seen
Oh,
that
for
through
sure.
YouTube and podcasts and entertainment.
Live
It's
streams
all
and
here. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Oh,
have I have a question though. In terms
yes.
of like brand building, because this is something that I've ran into. Like the thing that stuck the most that we've done, because we've put tons of money into like different projects and time and energy that never really like fully made it, or the like you said, you loses steam or something, or someone's hard drive crashes. It could be a million things, right? And I know me personally, I always was like, for a long time, looking for someone that I could help. Like, oh, I have the idea that could take you farther, and hoping they would turn around and like stamp me. But something switched where I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing it. I'm not selling my soul. You know what I mean? If they want to like fuck with us, they got to fuck with us, because we're trying to keep it pure, where we can actually promote things in a way where it's like there's the integrity behind it, where we let people be who they are, not paint them into this kind of thing or force ourselves into that kind of thing, you know? And I think Dawn Talk has become that for me because I just naturally meet people and I'm like, oh, you do that? Well, let me help you. And I feel like that's been my key. But are there any other things that you've like recognized or that are keys to help wonderful entertainment grow? Because we want to create something where it's like people are under our umbrella, where we're not a conglomerate, but we can stand together. So everyone has their unique thumbprint. They're not under a thumb, you know?
Yeah, no, and it's like that whole like I listen to a lot of podcasts. You listen to Guy Raz, How I Built This.
Mm-mm.
You gotta watch it. It's
Okay.
Guy Raz, How I Built This. It's an NPR podcast. It's entrepreneurship in the purest form. It's
Mm.
awesome, and you'll learn from a bunch of other people who are so much more intelligent than I am. And I think it's the problem is that there's no recipe for it, because I think success is you can't just copy what someone else did and expect to be successful, because there's so many variables on either side.
Yeah.
So for us, we got lucky. I mean, we didn't mean to do it. And so I think it's a different path.
Mm.
I think luck is part of it, but if you shoot enough shots, then you're bound to get lucky. And then I think listen to what your the direction of your customer and what they want. Like value their opinions and value, because they're going to tell you what's indicative of the rest of the market.
Hmm.
But then if you're not creating something that's performance based, like your product's not somehow, if you're selling a t-shirt, is it warm, or does it wick, or is it not, it's not the next Under Armour, right? Like it's not a performance based, it's a brand based. What does that mean? They want to be part of your tribe, so make that tribe something honest, because even if you did get quick traction, they're going to suss you out in a second, because
Mm.
someone's going to be plotting against you in a heartbeat. Like they're jealous of your success, or they want what you have, or they've figured out that you're a fraud.
Mm.
uh, just don't be a fraud to begin with, because then they can never kick you out for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that be original. Like, so if yeah, so from the entertainment standpoint, um, be whatever it is that you're doing, create something new. Don't try to copy somebody else. Would
Mm.
be my, would be my shitty advice that I haven't really thought through.
I think for me, like, and thank you. Before I even say anything else, thank you. I feel like what's unique about us, like where we have our own lane, is that there's people that may never get found unless they happen to stumble across me. Because I just happen to see something in them. And it's like, you don't have to be someone who created something incredible on like a large scale popularity wise. You could just be an incredible gem of a person with a voice that like needs to be heard. And there's a plethora of people to choose from, you know? And so there's not necessarily always going to be an overlap in that. Like I was talking to one of my friends and he was like, "Dude, I think you have your own lane." Like just in the way that I'm doing it, just bumping into people and being like, "Hey, oh, you want to talk? Oh, cool. Shout out to wife or daughter, whoever that is. That's
My
gotta be
wife
wife.
just brought me a margarita because, hey, it's margarita day.
Oh hell
Woo!
yeah!
How was that?
Hey,
Was it?
wifey, we want to praise you real quick because
You got
thank you.
tequila? You got
Shout
more
out to
tequila?
strong
You
women
got tequila?
that make strong drinks for good men.
She's wearing her
Yo,
wedding day vest.
woo!
She's cute. You guys should. She's done. She's the entrepreneur. She's the one you should have on your podcast.
Hell yeah. Hey, look, we welcome anyone that's got a voice that they want to share, and we're a family based thing.
Is that
Um,
singing aloud?
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, I already explained that I'm in your office.
Yeah.
I'd have a metronome in my
He
office.
he literally said, like if it wasn't for my wife, really carrying the flag and like helping us get through, like women don't get enough credit where they should be. I was
I didn't.
listening.
Don't.
I didn't say that women don't get enough credit because I give them all the credit in the world all the
Well,
time. But yeah, I did say this. None of this would have ever happened without Dollface
Well,
yeah,
everybody's got to live their life, right?
or
yeah.
Bailey.
There
Seems
was a
like a
there was a Navy SEAL. I can't remember his name right now, so I apologize for that. But I was listening to him talk, and he said his book was actually gonna be named Spartan Wife, and because it was really about how he said good women make good men, you
Hmm.
know, and he said bad women break good men, and bad men break good women. And it's like this whole thing, but he was just basically getting at the fact that like if like women hold men's hearts together, and
That's
really make this world go round. So I tip my hat to you because as he was telling me this story, I was just like, somehow that's what popped into my brain.
that's funny. Well, I'd like to read that book.
Yeah, I think you got this backwards. She's the main character here. I hold her heart together.
Hell yeah.
Backwards.
That happens.
Stenton-
Yeah, I was with her behind every good woman is a good man. I was there through law school. Like we've been together since we were 21 years old.
That's what he was saying. It was like,
Damn.
Hell yeah.
No. But the patriarchy is usually like like it's a good woman.
I feel like you guys are getting off on a tangent here. So I'm gonna go
A
drink
little
my
bit.
margarita. But
Yeah, that's all good.
What kind of
Happy National Margarita Day.
tequila did you buy?
Era dura.
Oh, you bought nice tequila.
Yeah,
You don't put nice tequila in tequila mix?
I did.
Oh man, alive.
Ooh.
Pinkies up, son.
It's good. It's really good. Well, then you can drink it after.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Nice.
Sabía en México muy cerca de el ciudad de tequila y he tomado a muchas tequilas y sabe que no lo pongo bueno tequila en una margarita. Debes tomarlos solamente con hielo.
Damn, that
mean,
Damn,
was
bro, you just broke out
Don't
Spanish
mix
on us.
don't mix good
good.
tequilas with margarita mix. Doesn't make sense. You should only be drinking it with ice.
Hell yeah. Mi hablar español un poquito, más o menos.
Mi hablar.
I was
Yeah.
about to say it's oblo, bro.
Oh shit. I thought it was like the
Oh, yeah, man.
ARs. Like I
Hey.
talk. Damn it.
The only thing you need to know is that chupa al diablo, culero, no mames, way.
No mames, way.
No mames, way. Yeah, you've worked on a construction site before.
Bro, no, I grew up in a like predominantly Mexican high school.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Where?
Yeah, Hood River.
Oh, no shit, right?
Yeah.
One of the best accents I've ever heard from a güero was out of this Russian guy who grew up. He was a cider when I was working construction over in Bend. He was a cider and he grew up in Albany in the fields. And then he spoke the most beautiful Spanish I've ever heard a white guy ever speak. It was amazing.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, Hood River, like cherries and stuff.
A lot of peaches. Or no, a lot of
Peaches.
pears and like apple orchards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hood River is awesome.
It's a pretty cool place.
Yeah. Wait, what is it? The Hood River Restaurant? Guys, you go down there.
Is
that
that on
Chinese
the waterfront?
that Chinese restaurant that turns into a karaoke bar.
Is it like a
It's got
big panda on the
little sign
top?
out front. What?
It's got a big panda on the top. Maybe I'm tripping.
Does it turn into a karaoke bar and then to a nightclub at like midnight? It's crazy.
Probably
in there.
not the one I'm thinking of.
Dude.
It's a bathroom. It's a You wouldn't even know though. Like it's a Chinese food restaurant. And you go in, and then it's a karaoke bar behind the Chinese food restaurant. And then at like 11 o'clock, maybe, turns into a dance club.
Wow.
And it's the weirdest shit in Hood River you've ever seen.
I'm not a big club person, so I definitely wouldn't know about it.
That sounds amazing, though.
It does
Dude,
sound
I am
kinda
not.
fun.
I'm talking like drunk parents. They're like our parents have the kids outing, so it's like it's not anything cool. It's just like,
Okay.
in the club. It's just like
Yeah.
yeah. I'd have to. I think it's called the. I don't know. I thought it was called the Hood River Restaurant, which is not an imaginative name.
No,
I was
not
gonna
really.
say that's either perfect advertising because it's like when you're drunk and you have an incredible time like that and you're trying to remember the place.
The Hood
The Hood
River.
River restaurant might be.
There was no pomp and or circumstance involved with this place. Like it was just Chinese food, and in the back there was just a big screen, and then at night it was like crazy turned into a dance club. Like I don't even know how to explain it.
I love it, dude. But
That's hilarious.
Zach, you got any more questions?
I mean, no,
Do
I
you have
think we
any
covered
questions?
everything. We
All right.
I think we
Yeah.
covered beyond everything. I mean,
yeah.
this is the most into the weeds I think I've ever been on a podcast. This is fun.
Hey,
That's how it's supposed to be.
yeah, we don't need
All
to
right,
stick to a
man.
lane.
Super substantial. We're gonna have to get a couple Sons of Smokey's hoodies from you. That way we can help, tip our hat to you. I'll have to get a bottle of a little something something that you're pushing. And well, yeah.
I'll bring him by the gun shop.
Okay. Well, I'll have some gifts as well.
Okay.
Yes. But yeah, we'll do everything that we can to promote
Hey,
you.
Zach figured out what I want.
yeah. He was like, "You better have a gun
I
for
want
me."
it with your mushroom buddy. That's what I
Oh,
want.
okay. I didn't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
there
see,
you go.
all right, see, I sprechen Sie.
I'd never done that shit before. That's a spicy margarita. And we were out in the Alvord Desert, and it was apropos. You guys know who Jessie Combs is?
I have
She's
no
a gal.
idea.
I'll tell you who she is. She's the fucking fastest woman on earth. And she wrecked her jet car down the Alvord Desert, setting the women's land speed record. So
Oh,
she's the
shit.
fastest woman on earth. And
Whoa.
she wrecked her fucking jet car. Close friend of mine. And we're down there, and my buddy's birthday. We're 2 years down there, 2 years after her accident. And she was the type of woman that, like, when you take that many risks, like, is it really an accident anymore? Like,
Yeah.
you know what
This is
you're
bound
doing.
to
Like,
happen.
she is just, yeah, she always just pushed. Like, she was race king of the hammers. She was a just insane fabricator, insane racer. Like, always had to go, 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 go. Like, was never about like anything but just racing. Everything else she did was to fuel her obsession with adrenaline and racing. And so, of course, but she set the fucking record, like when she wrecked her shit down there. And sad day, horrible. Like, years, of course. But years later, we can appreciate what she did. But anyways, my friend offered me like a microdose of mushrooms, and for anyone who has never done it before, I would say the microdose is fine, and probably all I'll ever do. I don't think I'm ever into the Rogany ayahuasca like trippy shit, but
Very hard for me.
like a little microdose of mushrooms, like. Dude, like that, I have seen zero side effects like of that. Like I'm not, I'm not a mushroom addict afterwards.
Mhm.
I've done it like twice, but like a little bit of clarity, and you feel clear too. Like I've always felt like it was a really great experience. So anybody who's thought about fucking around with a little bit of mushrooms, I highly suggest it. It's a good idea.
I was just telling my mom that because they were talking about we were talking about different laws, because I go from working. My mom's a probation officer for nurses, by the way. So,
Okay.
right, I've worked in a dispensary or at least I did for a long time. Now I work in a gun store, and it's like polar opposite in terms of like I guess some of the demographic or the controversy, but still legalities get talked about all the time, right? And
Yeah.
from people that I don't think really understand what the fuck they're talking about. And we started talking about mushrooms at the dinner table, And I was trying to explain to them, like, when you take a microdose of shrooms, it's not like, woo, woo, like you're not just like seeing all kinds of crazy shit. It's literally better than, in my opinion, for most people that I've seen than any like antidepressant that I've seen. It's like God's antidepressant. It's nature's. It really does something for you when you have this experience. And I can't put my finger on what it is, but mushrooms in and of themselves are something special. I've had a lot of trippy psychedelic experiences, or a fair amount. Um, but yeah, nothing comes close.
Dude, I agree with you. I found myself laying on the lake bed, that night, staring at the sky, not tripping or thinking about anything other than just being present. And I wasn't staring at my phone, and I wasn't worrying about what people were thinking about me. I was just staring at the sky and being there. And there's something to be said about that, because even now, even our hour and a half, I haven't checked my Instagram, or my Tiki Talkies, or any of the metrics on our website, or worried about all the shit I worry about all the time. I've just been here present with you guys, which I appreciate.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, we appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, Zach. You can cut her.
All right, we're
Been
gonna
a
cut it
great
here
one.
then.